Hi there, it's Kate. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a few weeks. We've had house guests from out of town for what feels like the last 3 months. And really it's just been like every other week for the last 3 months, but that's still like a lot. So yeah, this weekend, well, not even this weekend, today, there's no one else in our house, and I'm gonna try to talk about the books that I finished in the last couple weeks and the 2 books that I'm currently reading. So let's see, the first book that I finished recently was Recursion by Blake Crouch. This is, super popular book this summer, so I don't know if I need to say too much about it. If you're familiar with Blake Crouch, so I read his Dark Matter, a couple years ago whenever it came out, and it was really good. This was, to me, less mind-bendy than Dark Matter, although along a similar premise in that alternate timelines and science and that kind of thing. However, I think I like this book better because the characters in this book were basically good people. They were working to try to make the world a better place. They made mistakes, but they were trying to make their mistakes better. They were trying to fix mistakes, and they tended to learn from their mistakes. And that's kind of what I'm looking for in a book right now. So I do recommend this. Even if Dark Matter wasn't necessarily your thing, but you kind of like the ideas behind it, I think I would recommend it because, like I said, I think this one a little less, didn't blow my mind like Dark Matter did, and I like the characters a lot better, and I like their relationship a lot better. So that was a good one. I literally couldn't put it down. I think I read it in about 24 hours because I just couldn't stop reading it, and then I told my husband he had to read it, and I think he's working his way through the audiobook right now on his drives to and from work, so super good. The next book that I finished is The Queen of Hearts by Kimmery Martin. So this book is about a doctor, a female doctor who is, she is a pediatric cardiologist, I think. And she's best friends with, her best friend is a trauma surgeon, and they've been best friends since, I think, before their undergraduate studies. And they're currently living in the same city and practicing in the same city, and a doctor friend of theirs from their past comes back into their lives, and some secrets are uncovered, etc., etc. So the storyline was good and interesting, heart-wrenching at times. If children getting hurt is something that is hard for you, then this is going to be a hard book to read, since one of the characters specializes in, kids getting hurt. But the thing that I think I really appreciated the most about this book is that these women were realistic to me in the fact that they were mothers and like mothers plus. So I feel like in books, oftentimes, like, you see the mother as a character, and you see the woman as someone who works or does something else as a character, but you very rarely see a woman who is both realistically portrayed as a character. And that's really what sucked me into this book and kept me reading, is the portrayal of women as a whole, or of these women as whole people with real lives that really involved these kids who were doing, their own children who were doing things that kids do, and they were also juggling the rest of their lives. Granted, both of these women had nannies, and so they were not caring for their children full time, so it wasn't, an exact parallel to my life, but I still felt that it was a lot closer portrayal to my life than perhaps any other book that I've ever read. So that was really fun and exciting to read. Other than that, this is, I think this would be characterized as like women's literature, and that would be pretty accurate. It wasn't super deep and hard-hitting, but it was a pretty fun read. So I recommend that one if that's what you're in the mood for. Then I read this book in a departure, so I went for some more literary fiction. This is Disappearing Earth by Julia Phillips. So this author had a Fulbright to Russia, studied in Russia, and then wrote a book about Russia. And this book explores themes of ethnicity and gender and police action, and kind of how your ethnicity and your gender might influence the way police and other people treat you. It was good. It was basically a series of interconnected short stories. So in the very beginning of the book, 2 young girls are abducted. And then we follow this small town that these girls are abducted from through the course of a year, through the eyes of different characters. And each chapter, each month is a different set of characters. And so I would say that this author is a very gifted short story writer. I'm not convinced that the novel worked as a novel. I mean, I kept reading, I was interested. It's not that I couldn't put it down, but I couldn't abandon it either. Part of that is because my husband got this for me for our anniversary, so I wanted to finish it. But I did want to know if we were ever going to find out what happened to the girls. The thing that bugged me the most about this book, though, is that this woman, this author, is an American woman, and she's writing about this small town in Russia. And so, to me, I don't trust her to tell me a story about Russian women. I think that if she had set this book in small town America, it would have felt more real. If that, I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, I don't know if Russia counts as own voices, but there were definitely native Russian women that were portrayed in this story that I don't believe that this author has the authority to speak for. And I don't, I'm sensitive to the plight of migrant workers in Russia, simply because I spent some time studying in Tajikistan and with the family of a migrant worker. So the patriarch of the family would go to Russia and work for a year or two, and then he would spend a summer back home with his family, and then back and forth, and that's how the family supported themselves. And so the portrayal of Tajik workers in particular in this book, jumped out at me because I care a lot about Tajik people, and also it was just the way they were portrayed was very interesting. And I'm not saying it was inaccurate, but again, I just don't know that I trusted this author to tell me this story. I would love to talk to anyone else who has read this book, because I feel like there's a bunch that I didn't get. Like, it went over my head because it was very literary, and I don't always track as well with super literary fiction, so I would love to discuss this with someone. I recommend it definitely for the writing, especially if you are into short stories and kind of this interconnected short stories that have similar characters and are taking place and have similar threads running through them, but yet are very, very different. The way that she helps you understand and get a glimpse of these characters in just a few pages was really phenomenal, and I was really impressed by that. So I would love to discuss this with anyone else who has read it. And finally, the last book that I finished was very, very different and also super popular this summer. This is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. So this is about, in this book, the 45th President of the United States is a woman, and she has a college-aged son who falls in love with the Prince of England, one of the princes of England. And it is so sweet, and it makes you think, but not in a really thoughtful, ponderous way, just in a light, fun way. And I was smiling so hard when I was reading this book. This is another one that I finished in about 24 hours because I just couldn't put it down. It was just really engaging and sweet. I think this is characterized as a new adult book, so it's definitely an easy read, but it's a book that I think I will go back to for when I'm feeling sad, because it was definitely a happy, happy book. So the two books that I'm reading right now This is The Far Field by Midori Vijay. This is another book that my husband got me for our anniversary, which is really sweet. This takes place in India and Kashmir. And I'm not very far into this. I don't want to say too much more about what happens, but the writing in this one I'm really, really enjoying, and I'm excited to see what happens. And then another popular one, although a backlist popular book, is Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shetterly. I don't know that I need to explain this one. This is about female mathematicians in the aerospace industry in the United States. And I'm also not very far into this one, but still enjoying it quite a lot. So I will keep you posted on those. If you've read any of these stories or want to read any of them, let me know. I'd love to chat about them with you down below. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now.